Hey everyone, you're listening to Ankur Warikoo on Voice with Warikoo. On this podcast, I talk to you about entrepreneurship, how to grow in life, manage personal finances, handle failures, and a lot more things that just come to my mind. The episode begins. Quite often, we find ourselves in very difficult circumstances, and difficult circumstances could have multiple dimensions to them. It could be difficult because we have failed at something that we wanted to succeed at. Could be difficult because some of our loved ones have ridiculed us, not shown support, not shown love, maybe distance from us. Could be difficult because we don't know what to do, we are stuck, we're completely confused, so on and so forth. And the one thing that I would want to start with is very often, a lot of us imagine that we are the only ones who are going through difficult times. Everyone else looks so sorted, especially when we look at their Instagram lives. They seem to be living the perfect life with the best clothes, the best food, the best vacation, the best this, the best that, always with a smile on their face, looking the prettiest that they can or the most handsome. And then we're like, are we the only ones who are losing it in life? Are we the only ones who are unhappy? Are we the only ones who are suffering? Are we the only ones who are going through this really hard moment? No, you're not. Everyone's in shit. Everyone is carrying a burden. Everyone is carrying a load. We just don't see it. We just don't see it. And it could be because people don't want us to see it. It could be because we don't have the ability to see it. It could be because they have done a great job of hiding it from us. Whatever the case is, let me start with this admission that you are not alone in feeling dejected. You're not alone in feeling low. You're not alone in feeling lonely. You're not alone in feeling inadequate. You're not alone in feeling you don't deserve it. We all go through the same emotions. The only difference is how we react to it. In the fantastic book, Atomic Habits, James Clear makes this wonderful point that had stayed with me when I read the book. And he says, winners and losers both have the same goals. Winners and losers both have the same goals. Have you met any person who was trying to, say, prepare for an entrance exam or an interview and was like, oh, I don't want this job. Oh no, I don't want to clear this entrance. Oh yeah, I just don't want it. I'm stupid that I'm spending hours of my time preparing for it, but it's not to get in. I just do it because I love giving myself pain. No one does that, right? The ones who don't make it also had the same goal of making it. And the ones who made it also had the same goals of making it. So clearly, goals is not the reason why some people make it and some people don't. It's something else. And in my view, it's how they shape themselves up. It's the habits that they live with. And most importantly, it's the stories that they tell themselves. And one such story is this powerful question: what is this telling me? Let me tell you what this question does. Let me start with the example that I recently encountered with my own self, because that'll be a great way of me telling you how this works for my own self. I recently released my book, Do Epic Shit. In case you haven't picked it up, please do consider picking it up, especially if you have never read or rarely read, because it's designed for people who've never read or rarely read. And the intention is, can the book get you started on this habit of reading? Nonetheless, so this book is a very simple read. It has no start, it has no finish, it has a very big font, it has very less words on every page. So while it's a book of 320 pages, the actual content will be about 150 pages or so. And it's clearly written for an audience that I just described. An audience which is very young, an audience that is not habituated to reading, and an audience that would love to have an easy first book of their life. So clearly, if someone who's into reading, or someone who is very intellectual, or someone who's extremely experienced, if they were to pick up this book, they will not find the book resonating, because the book is very simple in that approach. In fact, the first sentence that I start with the book is that this is most likely the most useless book you will ever buy in your life. That's the first sentence of the book, because I believe in it. There's nothing new in the book that most people don't know already. So the other day I was going through the Amazon reviews of the book, and one of the reviews was, "Oh my God, I can't even believe that people are liking this book because it is full of shit." And that's funny because the book is do epic shit. But the review went on to say, it's crazy how things that are so obvious are just paraphrased and made into a book that suddenly becomes a bestseller because people don't know anything. So that was the review. I'm not being exact because then you will know where the review was from, but you get the drift. When you hear this question, when you hear this review, a lot of people's first reaction will be F off. Who the hell are you to give this review? This book is a bestseller. It's doing number one in India. There's so many people who love it. Look at me. Look at my following. Blah 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 blah. But that's a wrong way of approaching the same thing. It's wrong because it doesn't help you. It's wrong because it makes you believe what you already want to believe, as against willing to listen to something that may be new. So the question I ask is, what is this telling me? What is this telling me? And when I ask this question, it's a very powerful way of looking at the same situation. Instead of trying to hurt the person or react in a way that makes me feel like I've won this argument, I go back into myself and ask myself, what is this telling me? And when I asked this question, here's what I uncovered. I uncovered that what's this telling me is this book has a very specific audience. And it may help if I specify that audience when I'm talking about the book. It also told me that there will always be an audience that will not appreciate me for what I do. And that's totally okay. It should be okay. But it should be important for me to recognize that I have to say bye to a certain set of audience in order to say hello to another set. And this is a choice that I will have to make. It's not going to be an easy choice because in the segment that I'm going to say bye to are my peers, my batchmates from ISB, my fellow entrepreneurs who I started up with, my fellow startup community. All of them are experienced. They are ahead of the curve. They have a lot of reputation. They have, of course, a lot of intellect. So they are naturally going to dismiss most of the things that I do because it's quote unquote simple and obvious to them. And I will have to say goodbye to that segment. Perhaps say goodbye to a lot of my friends who will never understand what I'm trying to do in order to say hello to all of you listening to this podcast and hopefully gaining from it. And that is the power of this question. So the next time you find yourself in a difficult situation, the next time you find yourself pushed in a corner because of someone, or you have struggled to make it, you've sent so many emails and you haven't heard from anyone, ask yourself this question. What is this telling me? And it's perhaps telling you you have to change the format of the email. It's perhaps telling you that your story inside that email is not compelling. It's telling you so many things that are all hypotheses. You don't know which one is for real or not. But if you were to at least make a list of all the things that could be broken that this incident is trying to tell you, you will have a way of dealing with it. I'm not clearing these interviews and I'm sitting for so many of them, but something's not working. What is this telling you? What is this telling me? It's telling me that something is broken, that I need to fix. It could be the way I conduct myself. It could be my confidence levels. It could be my preparation levels. It could be something else. And I need to form a hypothesis on it and then try to work towards it. Massively powerful question to ask. Very simple to ask, very difficult to answer. But if you get yourself in a spot where you can, it's going to change the way you deal with difficult situations for the rest of your life. All the best. Thank you for listening to this episode of Woice with Warikoo. To be notified of upcoming episodes, be sure to subscribe and follow the show on this app right now. Also, don't forget to rate and review the show because That just feels nice. Thank you.